Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I am happy to welcome you to the Creative Kind. Whew, okay, finally, I'm coming back around, swinging back around to something that I promised you weeks ago now, and that was the other two quadrants of the Do What You Love array. So we've done the what are you great at, what are you good at part, doing what you love, what are you great at. Now I want to talk to you about what the world will pay you for. So sometimes we're great at something and the world will pay us for it and we can become cajillionaires. Prince comes to mind. Lady Gaga comes to mind. Michelle Pfeiffer, Meryl Streep, Rachel Brosnahan, although I don't know if Rachel Brosnahan is making cajillions yet, but she will. She's headed for superstardom for sure. Anyway, Tony Shalhoub is another person who happens to be great and should be making cajillions. Can you tell I love the marvelous Mrs. Maisel? So, you see what I mean, though. Sometimes you're amazing at it, and the world will pay you to do it. Whatever it is. Steve Jobs is another person, certainly. Sometimes you're amazing at something, and it happens to be something that the world isn't all that interested in paying for right now. So you have to come up with a different idea around what it is you're amazing at. Sometimes you're really good at something and the world will pay you huge amounts for it. Sometimes you're pretty good and the world won't pay you a lot. Depends on where everything sits in the quadrants. So today I want you to start thinking about, with respect to if you've done the previous list of what you love doing and what you're great at doing, and figuring out both of those together. Now I want you to look at what the world needs a little, like it would be nice, and what the world craves, what it desperately needs. Clean water, clean air. To me, those are desperate things. Access to food for everyone in the world who wants it. Shelter. Those are things the world desperately needs. So that's a way of looking at it. What does the world want? The world wants entertainment. Let's call it what it is. The world loves entertainment. So that's, if you are an entertainer, if you can entertain, and you can entertain in the way the world wants to be entertained, there's connection there, if you see what I mean. And then, what is the world willing to pay for? Is it willing to pay a lot of money for someone who wants to entertain them by peeling radishes? Maybe a very small sector of population, but maybe, right? So you need to look at, what is the world willing to pay for it? Is it willing to pay a lot of money for what you're good at, or is it willing to pay a little money for what you're good at? And you need to make those connections. What is the world interested in paying for? What does the world really need? And eventually we're going to marry all of that to what do you love and what are you great at? Because this is all a long way of going through and figuring out for you, what is your genius, your creative genius, and how can you maneuver that creative genius to give the world something it desperately needs and is very interested in paying for. So that if you want to be a creative kind where you get to make your living with your creativity and use that living and that creativity and that purpose to help make the world a better place, to reach down and pull others up, then that means marrying all four quadrants to each other. What you love, what you're great at, what the world really needs, and what it's willing to pay for. All four of those will give you everything you need in order to be a creative genius, a creative kind in the world. So make that quadrant for yourself. What the world wants, what the world really needs, what it's willing to pay for, what it would be willing to pay for huge amounts. Make those quadrants down, write them all out, and then in next week's episodes, we're going to talk about how to marry them to that first grid. Until tomorrow, I send you all my love.